Welcome to the Monday Club with me, Neil Loughran. I'm joined this week by Andy Waters and Cahair. As always, we're in association with Find Insurance NI, your local commercial insurance broker. Lads, how are you?
Good. Doing the best, thanks.
How are you?
Yourself?
Anybody stay up to watch England win the World Cup last night?
No. They're a step closer to winning it.
But I did briefly consider going to bed about 8 o'clock, getting up again.
Did you?
And then I didn't go to bed.
I kept the radio on all night, so I
watched Norway and Brazil instead.
Weird sort of nights where it's interspersed with just Mark Chapman.
And were you sleeping on the sofa by yourself?
I had the earphones in. It was just like, it's like
every so often waking
wee
up
bit Truman Show on it, like
to waking up to Mark Chapman beside you.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, eulogising,
whispering in your ear.
Yeah. So I feel like I lived it.
I know it's a different type of
podcast.
The whole thing, yeah.
Wow.
Overnight.
Well, it's just that dark cloud still there, isn't it? With England, is it going to come home?
Saruman.
Maybe it will.
So it is, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I fear they're going to be in a final now, I do. I fear they're going to be in a final at this stage. I do. I know your precious Argentina will have something to say about that, but
not much. But it looks at look at them the other night. Yeah.
Well, you've got to give Cape Verde what a game, wasn't it? Like
Pico's back from Dublin.
Pico,
Pico Lopez are back from America today into Dublin. What a story!
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And be interesting to see if they make it ever again and get back in there, but they did themselves.
Actually, FIFA will make it a 72 team tournament for the next one, and no red cards count and all that jazz.
We need Jarlath to start doing that, don't we? Now just start rescinding.
Make new counties and have a 64 team All Ireland.
It's the only way to do it. Like an Armagh and just any red cards you ever get just taken away.
Hopefully Down will make it as well. They'll actually make the Sam Maguire series.
Anyway, moving on. So before we're gonna focus primarily on Dublin and Kerry. This weekend we had a wee look at Louth and Mayo. We'll touch on that, of course, in the other All Ireland semi-final. But Dublin Kerry, the storied rivalry of Gaelic football, probably. Andy, what's your favourite memory from that rivalry through the years?
Obviously there are so many. I'm going to go with Maurice Fitzgerald's equaliser, that sideline ball in Tralee, 2001. I think Dublin were a point up, weren't they, coming down the stretch, and he, I remember him coming on, and the Dubs didn't he come on as a sub? The Dubs just went after him like a pack of wolves, and he scored one of the the most iconic points of all time, and Kerry went on to win that one. But then they got beat by Meath in the semi-final. I think it was Meath. They just didn't show up in that one. 2001.
2001 that was.
You're right, Andy.
So terrific score, Maurice Fitz.
Okay. What about yourself, Cahair? I think I know this one.
2013. It's the best game ever played.
Yeah.
The
game that you've watched, even though you've watched every game 25 times, you've watched that.
I've watched that 100 times. Like I do. I love that. I love that match. Like just the first 20 minutes were breathtaking. Like just unbelievable football from start to finish. And the goal at the end, if that ball breaks the other way, and Dublin probably should have won the kick out, and Kerry probably should have won the kick out rather, and the big long arm of Michael Dara poked it away. But also loved Diarmuid Connolly's winner off the left foot as well when Peter Crowley got emptied. Should have got a free. That was 2016, I think, was it? 2015 or 2016? 2015. No, final was 2015, so it must have been 2016. But Crowley got emptied and didn't get the free, and Dublin came down, and it was just that kick from Connolly, like just so effortless. That was on his left foot, on his weaker side, on the hard side of the hill. That's just like that was such a class score. Just to be there to witness that moment, like to be sitting in line with that kick, was watching him float. That was some kick. That was some score.
You can also, I suppose, when you start thinking about like the Mikey Sheehy free kick, you remember? There's so many golden moments, aren't there? From
there has been.
You at that one?
I remember well. Yeah.
Yeah, the kids one.
Yeah.
No, I would go for the Startled Earwigs in 2009. I remember I was in Dunmanway. Are you ever in Dunmanway? Dunmanway races. It's kind of a famous. I think Dunmanway is the birthplace of Sam Maguire. I could be wrong on that though, but. I remember being there that day, and Kerry had come into that. They just got past Antrim, I think, in the qualifier before that, and there was all talk about the Gooch and Tomas O'Shea were they dropped for a gear? I can't remember what it was, but they were all at sea really, like, and Dublin were fancied to beat them that day, and just remember the like stunned silence. Dunmanway's in Cork, like, and it was just like everybody was going, oh my God, like I would think they came out and just annihilated them. So I think it was a bank holiday Monday or something. It was a weird, yeah.
Did you have a horse running or something down Dunmanway?
I don't know why it was, no, but I remember the prize. I remember the prizes were very unspecific. Like there was like, you can win tickets to a match, you know,
of what? Like
or you can
cricket?
win this bottle of like
spirits,
something. Yeah, but it was, you know, it wasn't specified what any of it was.
Okay,
it was Father Ted doing the raffle.
It was whoever won it. I would say like they're still going because it was honestly about that size. So.
Brilliant! You can win this box of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always wondered what the match was like. But no, like this year, like it's 20. It wasn't 2023 the last championship meeting between Dublin and Kerry, and that's like, it's funny when I was talking to Mike Quirk a few weeks ago, and I was talking to him primarily around Armagh, you know, and because he was there in the 2024 semi-final against Armagh, but he was talking about that the 23 final defeat to Dublin and how much like that left a real mark on Kerry, you know, because he said actually like the more kind of as time goes on they look back at it, just go, how did we like that's one that we absolutely should have won, like, and it was obviously the last hurrah for a lot of that Dublin team. But now it's like the rivalry kind of went back and forth through generations, but now we're at a time where nobody probably expected Dublin to be here, be fair to say. Like how do you it's weird like to come in where, you know, probably I would say Kerry are pretty overwhelming favourites going into Sunday, or
I suppose Dublin, they were overwhelming favourites against Tyrone as well, weren't they? So obviously Dublin will take a bit of traction out of that, won't they? And how Tyrone went about it.
Yeah.
I think that proved maybe Kerry aren't completely untouchable. Obviously they've got one player who's untouchable, but yeah, I think Dublin will certainly feel they can make a game of it.
What way do you think Dublin will approach it, Cahair? Like I know you wrote a piece last week about the way Dublin will probably set up, well, how they set up against Galway and Donegal in terms of marking, but Kerry is a completely different proposition in terms of, or are they in terms of what they've been doing this year? Like they're not going for the conventional approach to I suppose setting up against attacks, like you referenced Rob Finnerty in your piece, but like are they? And
there's similarities in terms of Finnerty and Clifford are obviously
where they operate,
where they operate, the pocket that they like to operate, and so how Dublin will look to deal with that is probably pretty much how they look to deal with Finnerty, and that was basically like Davy Byrne picked him up to a certain point when he was inside, and once he came pretty much towards the arc, Davy Byrne just passed him off, and they defended very Derby zonal, like they defended. It wasn't really man to man in any sense. They didn't really do man to man matchups a lot of the time, and if players drifted, then they let them go. And like if Finnerty didn't take a shot off Davy Byrne until the 50th minute, you know, and that was, if you looked at the TV, you would have said Davy Byrne was marking Rob Finnerty, but just the way that Dublin defends. So when Clifford comes out into that 10 pocket, they'll pass him off. But I thought that
you were concerned about like the Niall Scully
on that side on that side of the arc. I just didn't feel that they defended some of the 2-point efforts very well. Like I thought they were too standoffish, and there wasn't enough pressure on the ball. And if they allow, particularly Clifford, but look, there'll be a heightened focus obviously on him. And what can you do with him? There's only so much you can do. We saw Niall Devlin do a really good job when he went on to him after 25 minutes or thereabouts in the Tyrone game. But you just accept that he's going to score a certain amount, and it's pretty much limiting the rest of them. And if you actually look back at it's a game, it's the biggest fixture in Gaelic football in the sense of the history, like of 140 All Irelands, they've won half of them, 39-31, and so like it's the biggest fixture in the sport. But if you look over recent years, a lot of the games between them have been relatively safe games, and it's because You know, if other teams, probably if Ulster teams were thinking this way, they maybe would criticise a wee bit. But I think that both teams are terrified of the other team in transition on fast breaks, and because they're the two best at it in the country.
So what do you mean safe games? Sorry.
So what you tend to get is probably slower phases and longer phases of play in Dublin, unless they can get a turnover, in which case both teams want to go really, really fast when they get that opportunity. But when it's not that opportunity, they're almost playing as if we have to get this ball dead, because if they get the chance to break on us, we're in trouble. And both teams are thinking the same way. So what they're doing is they're making sure they get their shot off and get their shot dead. And it's actually like the league game this year was a really poor game. You know, it was 116 to 110. Kerry were comfortable, but it was hard enough to look at times. They're you know, you take a couple of the 2023 final was okay. But it was at its best in those moments when there were turnovers, because like even in their flaws since, you know, they've kind of dipped off a wee bit in the few years, Dublin, even in their flaws, when they get that opportunity to break on you, they're still can be absolutely devastating. And obviously we know Kerry can be going the other way when they get the chance to do it. So what you hope for as a fan is turnovers and loads of opportunities for that to happen, and then you get your great game, because if both teams get a chance to do that, that'll be classic stuff. But they're both very, very good. And the piece I did last week, you know, it focused on how good both teams are kind of at getting their ball to the shooters. You know, like the Galway game, Dublin, 92% of Dublin shots were taken by forwards.
And what percent?
96% of scores.
Were taken by
Galway were 62% of their shots were by forwards, and like Kerry are 75% if you don't count Diarmuid O'Connor and Joe O'Connor as forwards. I don't really. They're kind of auxiliary midfielders playing in a four more than their. But if you count them as forwards, you're up to 89%. So like both teams are looking to get the ball to the shooters all the time, to get their shots away, which, you know, that there's a safeness in that as well. Like Dublin, you're not going to see anybody
everybody
take
just
shots.
having a pot shot.
Nobody's going to have pot shots like and look. But again, then that goes back to what the both teams focus on this week. So both teams go very heavy on the shooters, and that's why I was writing that if you're Dublin, you are looking at that midfield four, and less so Joe O'Connor, because Joe O'Connor can hurt you in a very different way. He will just straighten up and run straight through you, and he could either score goals or create goals. So he's a different threat. You can't step off him.
Mark O'Shea's not going to do that.
Mark O'Shea has had one shot this year, and he nearly missed the ball catcher against Clare in the Munster semi-final. Sean O'Brien and Diarmuid O'Connor's 5 from 12 in his shooting this year. I think Sean O'Brien's 2 from 6, is it? Yeah. So like, if you're looking to create +1s in defence and try and double yourself up and make it easier against the Cliffords and against the Gainies and that, you have to cheat off O'Shea, you have to cheat off O'Brien, and you have to test Diarmuid O'Connor. I think Diarmuid O'Connor's better than that ratio in his shooting. But sorry, I'm going on about
but
now.
He's still finding his feet in a way.
He's still finding his feet. Like. And but the thing about Kerry, and this is what I think makes Kerry so hard to play against, is that they will be so keenly aware of that. And Sean O'Brien has not taken many shots, but you go back to the All-Ireland final last year, he hadn't taken many shots up until that. They probably knew Donegal were going to try and cheat off him, and Sean O'Brien found himself in the pocket in the middle of the D twice and kicked the ball over the bar because they were so aware that was going to happen. That's right, let's get Sean O'Brien in, and he kicked the ball over the bar from there and he hurt you. And so the more that you know it, the more that they are also hyper aware of it. They're expecting you to know it and to do that. So look, that's what goes on, or that's the challenges that both teams face. But it's look, if it goes the way it has gone, it probably won't be a classic. Probably won't be, because neither team wants the up and down pinball. Dublin maybe wanted a wee bit more, but in their attacking sense, but they don't want it in the defensive sense. So, you know, it could end up.
Surely Kerry don't want that either, do they? I mean,
they want it in the attacking sense.
Yeah. You mean, but what McCurry showed the last time coming in, 10 points. I mean, he ripped the Kerry defence to shreds, don't they? I mean, so if Dublin are going to win this game, I don't think they can rely on Con, Costello, Paddy Small, they're going to have to find something different, aren't they?
Yeah.
But maybe, and we'll see if they have it.
That's the thing. Like, it's what they can take from that Tyrone template, or do they take anything from the Tyrone template, or what they've done? Because it's an unusual one with Dublin this year. When you factor in the Ger Brennan situation and the fact that he was absent for so long and how much they struggled, obviously you can't put this all to one man, but the correlation is there. Like they were already probably going to get relegated. That was the last day, wasn't it, of the league? I think the Galway game, that whenever the incident with Ger Brennan, I can't remember. But like in the championship, obviously, like very close against Wicklow. Beat Louth, but then were well beaten by Louth in the next game, and you were sort of, their season just looked to be running aground. And then all of a sudden, whenever he comes back, and they're starting to get that bit of momentum again, and you wonder where, like you wonder what the mentality is for them now. Are they kind of looking at, after beating Donegal and Galway, like they must be looking at Kerry and going, okay, well, like we've their confidence from where it was, after Louth or even post Wicklow, must be on a different level completely now.
Mm-hmm. I know during the league they were struggling, but I know an inter-county manager who's gone all the way, who was saying that don't write them off. He could see that potential in Dublin, when I don't think, I didn't see it in them really. But since obviously they've got Cohen back fit and Brennan,
but Cohen's still not fit. Sure, he's not, like, I don't know. When you look at him,
he's racking up his scores.
He is, but I still don't think he's at full throttle. I think he's kind of he looks to me like he's adapted his game. You know what I mean? He's not going hell for leather at, one-on-ones or anything. Like, he's kind of maybe adapted his game slightly, but more playmaker-y in a way.
I know. He's not. When
you think of, like, the aggression that he would have brought to
driving at the black spot,
he's not really doing that.
No, I get what you're saying, but you're right. He's probably managing himself through games, making sure he gets as many. And, like, as you say, the scores he's putting up, he's still more than justifying it. He's a massive threat.
And he orchestrates their attack, doesn't he?
He does. He's
the focal point, like.
And they're intelligent in terms of, there's times he'll come out and there's times he'll come out around the arc and go for the twos as well. But just interesting, in that league game as well, Jason Foley kept him scoreless in Croke Park at the start of the year, and that'll be the match up again. And look, Foley's a phenomenal defender. Like, he's just so quick across the ground, so strong, and oftentimes it can look like he doesn't have to do much defending because his positional sense is so good, and his forwards are scared to take him on a foot race. Mm-hmm. The opposition teams are scared to kick the ball into a foot race with him because there's a good chance you're going to lose it, and so that's a big problem for any team playing against Kerry. It's probably a lot of the reason why you don't see teams kick the ball in too often against Kerry, because Foley's so good in there. But it just, look, like, O'Callaghan's a big part of what they're doing. There's a lot of similarities between this year for Dublin and 23 and winning the All-Ireland. Like, I remember writing a piece in the middle of the 23 season that basically, like, there's no way Dublin can win the All-Ireland. There's no way they can win it because they were so poor in the.
I think it cost me 20 quid.
in the middle part, and from the whole league and in the early part of the championship, I remember, because I watched all their football, and, like, when the game slowed down and they had to go into structured attacks, they were actually pretty terrible at it that year. Like, they were really poor, and they were getting turned over, and they weren't getting shots away, and I was thinking, like, nobody's going to, somebody's going to come along and beat them if they keep on doing that. But what they got in the All-Ireland series was a couple of the games that they really wanted. They were really stretched, and that goes back to my point about when it gets stretched, they love it. They love going up and down in that, and they're so good at punishing you. And in the moments in the All-Ireland final where the game went like that, and there were moments where it went like that, they were very effective. Now, as you say, like, it was a sore one for Kerry because they were still in a great position in that game with 5 minutes to go. I think Kerry were leading. Were they even 2 points up? In that All-Ireland final with 4 or 5 minutes to go from memory. So, and Dublin clawed it out. But they have the capacity in their forward line to shoot the lights out still, and that makes them a big threat. And when you look at Paddy Small playing really well, Callahan playing really well, Scully playing really well. Bastille's come back into it.
I mean, we obviously talk about the rules flat out, and the impact that it's had. But you see, like Niall Scully there now in kind of Player of the Year conversation, at least, and Kieran Kilkenny has been integral to a lot of that. We've talked about Con, is there an element of that as well has changed, or you're talking about 2023, which is pre and maybe they're still playing the same sort of style, but these guys now seem to be flourishing a bit more.
I think the big thing is, they've obviously tightened up the way they're defending. They're defending really well. They're making it really, they've made it really hard for Donegal and Galway to play through them, and then that's making their life easier. Patrick O'Coffey-Byrne has come back in, makes a massive difference just in terms of the whole thing, like their kickouts. Have to say, I would have real doubts all the time, real question marks over Evan Comerford until this last 3 weeks, when he has just looked like a totally different goalkeeper. Like, he has just been, I think he's been brilliant in the last 3 weeks, and I don't know where from, because I hadn't seen that from him at any point in his career before now, but all of a sudden he's picking men, he's kicking out over the top, and again, we're talking about the fast moments, and like, one of the things that Dublin did brilliantly against Donegal was how fast they got the ball to the tee and got it banged right out over the top, and they'll look to the same again. And then again, we're back to, so Kerry know that. So be interested to see, did Kerry almost attack with 10 and leave a Dermot O'Connor or leave somebody back out in that pocket to cut off that early kick? And you go and join it if you need to, but let's try the attack with 10, see can we break it down. And again, I just think that could lead to slower phases, long, and because I think Dublin will sit in fairly deep. I don't think they'll press out too high on it, and it just look, there's a lot in it that Dublin can look at and feel that they're getting right. My worry for them is that they're just so heavily reliant on the 3 or 4 shooters getting all their shots, and the man marking capacity that Foley has, that Dylan Casey has, that Paul Murphy has. Like Paul Murphy on Costello, Dylan Casey on Paddy Small, Foley on O'Callaghan. They're very natural matchups. Like they're almost, you could almost put your house on those 3 being the matchups, I think. And then, so they'll get shots away, but how many? And will it be enough? And are Dublin then brave enough to say, right, look, this is the day, Lee Gannon, and this is the day, whoever,
Scully, Kilkenny,
Brian Howard, we really need something out of you, Brian. We need a couple of 2s out of you. Scully will take shots, so yeah, Scully will shoot. But so it's just
O'Coffey-Byrne, get him up front. They said seen him do it for Kula, haven't you? It's
throw him in like as a
inside. It's similar to O'Shea though. Kerry will cheat off him. They'll know he's not a shooter, like, and defensively they'll cheat off O'Coffey-Byrne, and then that creates the same. So look, I'm kind of talking about. I don't expect it to be just a riveting, absolutely all-out end-to-end game. I'd love it to be that, but I think both teams are so scared of the opposition being good on that they'll prioritise that not happening, and they'll prioritise getting the ball dead on their own shots, and so you're looking at a slightly slower paced spectacle for me.
And is the Shane Ryan conversation over with for now? Do you think? Like, obviously he's been back training and stuff, but he's I think he's available. But Shane Murphy's been so good. Like,
he was outstanding. Sure, I mean, in the quarter final, he didn't put a foot wrong. No. I mean, his kickouts were superb, weren't they? I mean, he made a couple of saves, didn't he? But didn't have that many saves to make. But
that's where they hammered Tyrone, really, wasn't it? Like on the
he's like I can't see it, but I mean,
no, you're right, Long. Yeah, you can't. I think
he was actually injured in the warm up, where he was getting treatment in the warm up. I think he took a bit of a bang. So we're thinking
Ryan might come in.
Ryan wasn't even named last weekend, then, was he? I don't think was Ryan the sub goalkeeper last week. I don't think he was again. I think he was out of the squad
that's
again.
right.
Was he?
Yeah,
I don't think
Because
he
he was sub goal.
He was sub goalie for the Armagh game.
But
I don't think
he's had a setback. So no, I think they'll go on.
I think if Shane Ryan was fit, I don't think you can drop Shane Murphy anyway. He's been so good. There's no other position you would put somebody else in that form out of. No matter how good Shane Ryan has been down the years for them, at the minute it's Shane Murphy's jersey until he loses it. And he has been. It's funny because I remember putting writing at the start of the year that. Yeah, I think he's one of the best shot stoppers in the country. He's shown that. I watched a fair wee bit of him in club football over the last couple of years in Kerry. And he's some shot stopper. And the question marks would have been a wee bit over his kickouts, but as the year has gone on, he's developed that as well. And he was absolutely perfect against.
Yeah, even right on when the whole thing was in the mixer, he picked out, was it Armin Heinrich and the big number Mark O'Shea, was it? Absolutely vital pinpoint kickouts. And no, he can do it under pressure, as Cahair says. Good shot stopper. The
one thing I would say about that is that of all the things that Tyrone have got right over the last couple of years, and they have got a lot right, the one thing that they probably have never got right is their kick-out press. Tyrone have been pretty poor on the opposition's kick-outs a lot of the time in terms of, making that, look at the numbers.
Is that a personnel issue?
Well, look at the numbers that Armagh put up against them both years. You remember Ethan Rafferty was 22 out of 20, whatever it was last year in Clonus, huge number that day, and then Blaine Hughes this year on Armagh as well. So I just I just don't know that Dublin will give them as much joy on that. I think Dublin. Now, look, Kerry are hard to deal with on that because of the four across the middle. They have so many options, and they go to Joe O'Connor on the wing one time, and Mark O'Shea is not the single most, but he's so valuable to them. In terms of what he gives them, and he knows he plays like a player that knows his limitations. He's not taking shots, and he's not. He just it's win the ball. Give it to the footballers.
Yeah, give it to David.
And that sounds wild harsh. Yeah, but it's and
there's a humility there that's required in the best teams, isn't there?
Absolutely. And look, Sean O'Brien has, a lot of people would argue Sean O'Brien's actually been better than Mark O'Shea even still this year. Now I love O'Shea. I think he's been outstanding for over a year there, and just the many man of the match awards as he had, and the many. When he hasn't won it, how close has he been to it? He's just given them such a platform that, when he came into the team last year and O'Brien came into the team, you were talking about what Kerry were missing in midfield. And could they win the All-Ireland? They're so light in midfield and they're struggling and the injuries and all. And all of a sudden, it's become where you have Joe O'Connor and Diarmuid O'Connor playing at the wing half forward positions because Mark O'Shea and Sean O'Brien have done so well that you can't put either of them out of the team. And you've built this wall of four and you're very, very effective with it. They're great at what they do. They're brilliant at what they do.
I suppose just going back to that Armin Heinrich mentioned, I suppose that's another aspect of it, isn't it? The Kerry's bench, isn't it? He came on, he looks a terrific player, doesn't he? To me, anyway. Shawnee O'Shea as well. Dublin have a few promising youngsters, don't they? Young Darren coming in.
He's really impressed me anytime. He's so direct, and he's just, you can tell he's going to be class.
Come on and get the point the last day as well. Sean McMahon's an injured out now, and that creates a wee bit of a problem for them. But I don't think it's a massive problem matchup wise. And again, it goes back to the way they defend as well. It is a wee bit of an issue, but the way I see it, if you watch back, the fact Theo Clancy went on Comer when he came on the last day, I would expect Clancy on Clifford, and I would expect Davy Byrne on Dylan Gainey, and then Sean McMahon if he's fit on Paul Gainey, and if not, then you're looking at Deering maybe coming in, or Bannon coming in and going in there, and possibly Charlie McMorrow going into full back line, possibly, but I don't see that. But it doesn't, the way Dublin are going to defend, will make it hard. But again, Kerry showed that in the All-Ireland final last year, a team whose defensive setup looked really, really sound until that point. They were the team that was able to say, right, well, this is how we get through it. And we use Sean O'Brien and we use different avenues that they maybe aren't expecting. Because go back to that All-Ireland final, like, David Clifford didn't touch much ball in the opening 20 minutes. And all the focus was on Clifford and how, Keelan McGonigal might come in and cover off the kick and all of the other things that were talked about. And Kerry got themselves into a position where it was his sort of second quarter burst that really took the game away from Donegal. But the first quarter was off Gavin White, and it was off Body Clifford, and it was off Sean O'Brien.
It would stage a lot of damage.
Exactly. Like so, if you hyper focus on one theme or one thing with them, they're brilliant decision makers. They're brilliant.
Jack will have plan A, plan B, plan C, won't he, for
all
these kind of things?
But the players themselves,
yeah,
they're. I just think they're a very intelligent team on the pitch. I think even there was an incident in the league game where at the start of the year where Sean O'Shea had a shot from the arc, and Clifford had just come out into his favourite pocket, and Clifford's coming around the arc hard, and he's give me the ball, but he knows he doesn't want the ball. Sean O'Shea knows he doesn't really want the ball. It's just it's a decoy, and so I can't remember who the Dublin defender tracking O'Shea was, but he stops dead because he's right. Clifford's coming on to his left foot here. I better protect that pocket, and he stops dead, and Sean O'Shea just goes round and into a big space outside the two of them. Now Hawkeye gave it wide. It was very, very close. But the idea of that sort of intelligence, they're very, very clever footballers, and there's a real selflessness about the Cliffords. And the Paddy Clifford, when he's being really tightly tagged, Morris Shanley and Finbar Rorty, it annoys him surely, and he's not having the impact in the game. But he will also go and stand in positions where he's disrupting the opposition setup, and he's disrupting how they're able to defend and the way that they want to set up and the positions that those defenders want to be in the cover. He will go and pick pockets and stand out of the way, and David Clifford, to see him, he'll drag the defender, drag Brent McCall out to the sideline on the 50-metre line, just for an attack.
There's a bit of humility about that.
Just to make Donegal's if I can't get the ball, the least I can do is make the opposition's life a wee bit harder defensively. They'll still have an eye on me. They'll have a second eye on me if I come out here, and that creates a gap for somebody else. And they're brilliant at it. They're brilliant at that decision making, and creating those wee gaps.
So Kerry,
I would say so. Yeah, Kerry by 3 points.
Aye. I honestly can't see anything else, because I don't think they'll allow it to be the game that Dublin needed to be to win, and I think Kerry won it.
Okay, sell out. The Dubs are back. The Dub bandwagon is back, in terms of the support and stuff too.
You get the packed hell. You wouldn't know. I wouldn't. You can't rule anything out, can you?
If they get in front,
I'm hoping for a better game than he's predicting.
Oh well, if Dublin get in front and then the game stretches. I think if Dublin get in front and the game stretches, it could be brilliant. It really could be brilliant at that point. But my feeling is that it won't. It'll stay very recent meetings tell you, if you watch the games between them, that's the way they go. They're both terrified of each other.
Yeah.
In that sort of attack, so they don't go that way, and that's just it's the evidence that I see.
Louth and Mayo, Andy, in the other semi-final, and we've talked here about one, the big rivalry in GA, but this is an equally kind of interesting meeting on a different premise altogether. Because Louth have been one of the stories of the year. Probably Mayo in a way, given that they've been so up and down at times, you maybe wouldn't have expected to see them here. What's your feeling going into this one? Do you think? The Louth momentum is such that there's such a huge volume of interest in them now, but you look at Mayo's scoring power there, and you wonder how Louth are going to handle that on Saturday.
Absolutely, Kobe and young Byrne and who am I missing? Like, well,
Ryan O'Donoghue.
Ryan O'Donoghue obviously will be a very major player. I think he's got the experience there, and he's been there and done it. The other two lads are young, aren't they? You'd first seasons for both of them, isn't it? So you'd be wondering how they're going to handle that pressure. Then again, you put it on to Louth. Sure, I mean it's all totally new to all of them. And it's like they haven't been at this stage since 1957. So it's an amazing story. I think Louth are the story of the year, particularly if they can go take another step. I mean, obviously Sam Mulray is their man, but they've had so many big players, haven't they? Throughout this campaign to beat
different
Monaghan.
stages,
To beat Monaghan with 14 men, for an hour. I mean, was a terrific achievement. Just showed the mettle they have and the quality in the team. It's all up for grabs. You'd say probably quality wise, Mayo are maybe just shading it, aren't they? But I don't know. There's just a force with like a spirit about this Louth team.
This is our year, kind of a vibe about them.
Name on the trophy stuff, like maybe not quite,
but they're running that they're maybe not ready to finish up yet. Like, but Cahair, where do you see? I see you've got a few matchups down there and stuff. But where do you see the winning and losing of this game on Saturday? Like, because we spoke last week with Soupy about how Mayo have nearly come full circle from the great team of the when it's not the Nutties, what do you call that decade?
The Tennies.
The Tennies, oh no. But like that unbelievable kind of defensive unit that they had, and now maybe there were question marks over that as opposed to the exciting forward line that they have. So where do you think is the winning and losing of this one?
There are different areas for both teams. I think you mentioned there, I think what you'll get with Louth on Sunday is the energy, the energy that is just within them at the minute, the sense of confidence and the sense of themselves, that I just think there'll be an absolute relentlessness about them, an absolute 70-minute, no matter what happens, they're not going away. If they're 5 up, they don't stop. If they're 5 down, they don't stop. I just think that in order to get over the line, there will be no spell of that game where Mayo can look about taking their foot off the gas at all here. Like that, if they want to win that game, they're going to, because Louth are going to the line. Louth are going to the 70, regardless. And that's, for me, both teams have very different strengths, but it is all the luck of needing extra time or needing something very late to separate them, because like there's different Louth in the full back line, like that Mayo full forward line, obviously the score that they put up 2 weeks ago last weekend against Cork, it's obviously a massive score. And Louth's full back line, like Emma Carlin and Darren Alley in the 2 corners, particularly Nally. Nally's more of a, you would more often see him track like a Kilkenny or a Paddy Clifford or that. He's that type of defender to me.
Playmaker kind of thing,
but he's going to have to play in the corner. He's going to have to mark one of Kobe or Dara Byrne. Don't see unless they switch things up and make a change in that department, and which I don't really see them doing either. So Mayo will look for that joy again. Like, they will look to their full forward line. Now, what role Kieran Downey plays, because he's played so many different roles. Like, he effectively played a centre half back a lot of times during the year, and then he's played a full forward at other times during the year. But do they bring him out and try and cut that off a wee bit, make it safe? And also, that brings him into the midfield battle where they're missing Sean Callahan, even though the middle of the field is an area where, as good as Callahan is, it feels like if Louth are going to get somebody suspended, the middle of the field is the area where they can cope. They can bring Paul. They just probably bring Paul Matthews straight back in there, and you have Grimes and you have Downey and you have you have Mulroy on their kickouts. You have and Dara McDonnell, and so you've loads of options in the air, and loads more options in the air than Mayo have, and that will be the area that Louth will feel that. If we can dominate, and it's back to the Clifford thing, like if you can dominate possession, you can win all the primary ball. What harm can those 3 forwards do if they don't have football to kick over the bar? So Louth will go very hard after that. That's where they'll see the winning of the game. It's just, Sam Mulroy, as we've talked about a few times here, like the different role that he's playing, and I sort of have a feeling that Mayo will send Hessian to just tag him in the Finbar Roadie way. He will follow Sam Mulroy everywhere. Like he will, because I think Mulroy runs too much to not do that.
Aye.
I think he's such a
selfless,
pivotal part of their game that you can break that down a wee bit if you go really balls out, pressing high up the pitch on him, and even just cutting it off, making that he's not the pass in defence. You don't want him getting the ball 50 yards from his own goal, able to turn, get his head up, look, play the right pass, which other teams have allowed him to do, and he's unbelievably good at it. I just think that because the way Mayo defend anyway, like they were better the last day, but they're still very man to man, and they're learning to cheat off a wee bit. But Mulroy is the one that I think they'll send in the Hessian to chase him everywhere.
And what impact does that have then on Louth if they are able to negate him?
Massive. Like because Mulroy just dictates so much of the tempo of their play and everything about what they do, and he's so composed on the ball. They look to get it to him, and he'll make the right decision for them. And he'll whether he speed it up or slow it down, or where he goes with it, he very, very rarely ever gives it away. And I just think if you disrupt that a wee bit, you disrupt Louth a wee bit. So I think that's the way. Mayo will go on it. But the two teams, I think the two teams are similar in some ways, but very, very different in other ways. And I just. We don't know, we don't know whose strengths are going to come to the fore. If Mayo can get enough ball in their hands, they can feed that full forward line. They can hurt Louth. And I just have a feeling that Louth won't go away. I just think they won't go away at all, and I don't know if Mayo will be able to push them away in the end.
Yeah, it's a great story as well, obviously, the Louth, but Mayo, imagine that this was their year. I mean, and I don't doubt that they will...
Do you not have the fear that if they did get to the final and then come up against Kerry, it could be Groundhog Day again? Like
Kobe McDonald's dads back in the day. But I don't doubt that they feel that they can go all the way. You know what I mean? You can see that confidence about them too. I mean, because nobody was talking about them at all. But just the way they've gone about their business, this season, that there is that confidence about them, and determination. They're going to lose Kobe McDonald, aren't they, at the end of the season, unfortunately. So, they'll be looking to make hay where the sun shines,
And they could, it's, as you say, they're probably talking about it and looking at it. This is an opportunity we might not have again, because this man's going to be gone at the end of the year, and he's such a big part of what we're doing here already, and this won't exist for us next year. So you strike when the iron's hot, totally on it,
And obviously it's a brilliant matchup for both, because they'll feel they can beat, obviously Louth will feel they can beat Mayo and vice versa.
That's a perfect draw, isn't it?
So whatever they've got, this could be the cracker of the weekend.
Oh, I think so. I think that, I'm talking about, and like Louth talked about the Armagh game, they sort of purposely slowed it down where they could. They didn't want to get caught in that game with Armagh either. The Monaghan game was obviously very different because of the red card. They kind of had to slow it down. They had no option really at times. But say they kicked 27 points with 14 men, so they were hugely effective then when they did go. But it's just what sort of a game, because I think that for all I'm talking about their differences, I think that both teams will think that their best opportunity is to be really fast and direct. And so if both teams are thinking that way, then you're into your breakneck classic, you're into your real up and down, end to end. And
I don't think Mayo could play it any other way than really go for it.
And they're kicking the ball, plenty at the minute. And so I think they'll go fast, and if they're getting their scores more easily, and Louth are slowing the game down, having to work harder for theirs, the Louth say, we need to up the tempo a wee bit, because they're scoring fast and we're having to work for ours, and it's just it could break out. It could break out very quickly into a game that is, I can just you can almost hear the high pitched squealing of the crowd from here. Do you know that? Do you know that real?
Andy, do it there.
Go on.
But no, there's something about the Louth supporters. Like, you know, I was up in RD for the Throne match in the league. They're so passionate. I mean, obviously you find that in every county. Like, but I just.
But it's so new. Like, I think that's like. I was talking to Rowan O'Neill last week. Like, and obviously he's coming from like he's former Tyrone.
But I know, sorry to interrupt, but you say it's so new. It isn't new at all. These people have been there. You know, round Division 4, round getting.
Oh no, but you know, it's new to be here. Like it's this is like generations of Louth supporters have not known anything like this. You know what I mean? Whereas like he's coming from a county where like Tyrone are always competitive, or at least in his lifetime, and so he's kind of saying, you know, like it is unbelievable the fervour about the place, and just the lengths that people will go. There's that kind of like, well, you're talking about the similarities between Louth and Mayo on the pitch, but even off the pitch, you could make a comparison there in terms of just that. You remember that, like the madness of the Mayo support, kind of in that kind of 2016, 17, 18, 19, you know, like the tennies, as Cahair calls
them.
But
those people were driven to the brink of, like, you know, madness.
Oh, totally.
They, you know,
like they were taken to the other end of, like, you know, then, you know, what for a period just decided, no, I can't do this to myself anymore. But Louth are just at the kind of apex of, don't want to say hype, but, you know, like of just being all in on this. Like, and as Cahair says, there is a sense probably, even when you look at their journey, and like there's no doubt that losing to Dublin in Portlaoise was like a huge turning point for them, because that was like the first time that like they were big favourites. Well, not big favourites, but they were fancied to beat Dublin probably that day. And I think that was a real kind of wake up call in terms of like, okay, right, we're not maybe what we necessarily think.
They faced big challenges, like, you know, they were well behind the end of the second day at half time against Dublin. They were 6 down. Got the goal against Armagh, got the red card against Monaghan, and all of that. The fact that they have come through all of that, what I talk about them not going away, I think that they are just
bulletproof in terms
bulletproof in their heads, like, absolutely. Like they, you know, there's nothing that we can face on Sunday that we haven't faced or that we can't find a way to face, and if we just stay relentless and just stay keeping going at it, that even if Mayo score 27 points, we'll find a way to score 28.
Yeah,
you know, that feels like.
Yeah, but it is all about levels too, and that's not obviously not. I wouldn't write Louth off, but it is all about levels. Yes, we're going to face. Yeah, but
they've been at that level. That's the thing. Like they've been.
They've been an All-Ireland semi-final level.
Oh no, but like you know, Mayo, like with Mayo, and Mayo would be on the same sort of level, wouldn't it? As like,
and like, you know, Mayo were the team coming in here having not beaten anybody, in the sense of having beaten a Division 1 team in their championship run. Like like Louth have had the big results.
They've done 3 Armagh, Dublin and Monaghan.
Yeah, so
I think or Gavin Dallin was saying last week that was their big target, was taking out a Division 1 side, which obviously they've done 3.
But I think it's been a year of like breaking through, see, like even beating Derry and then beating Tyrone in the league. I think all those things, that's just where Louth are, like, because, you know, that kind of everything's an incremental kind of, all right, okay, Jesus, we can do this, we can do, you know, and that's, you're seeing the net result of that now, like in them being where they are.
Yeah.
So
I did an interview there yesterday with one of the Louth men that played in the 1957 final.
Yeah.
Frank Lynch, but you know, and you forget that they have been there before, but the previous one to that was 1910. So I mean, they're all completely, as we were saying, hyped up. This is not even once in a generation. This is
the windows are shut. Like for we go back to the start. Like Dublin and Kerry obviously have 70 All-Irelands between them. For everybody else, these are opportunities that. And then they'll be saying that this week to themselves, like this might never come back. We will hope that for the next 10 years we're here, but this day might never ever come back to us. Like we might never get to an All-Ireland semi-final again.
Louth have won it more recently than Mayo.
Yeah, they have.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But as you said, because like Dublin could all of a sudden start to go through the gears again. After their two year hiatus, like, you know, God love them.
And you know, it's the Dublin. It's the Dublin that football. Everybody talked about the GA and football needing a strong Dublin. It needs a competitive Dublin. It needs this Dublin that could beat Kerry, that could equally lose.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want the all conquering Dublin. You
want the naughties Dublin.
I want the naughties Dublin. I want the party boys. I want the start of earwigs. And
you want the frosted tips.
Mark Vaughan still recovering from Kevin McCloy yet. But no,
you don't want no sport wants any kind of.
No, look, Kerry, Kerry, everybody's talking about the rules, and I still do think Kerry won the All-Ireland this year again, and
but it doesn't feel like they're untouchable in the way that Dublin team did for sure.
We'll see in a couple of weeks' times, but you could get to them winning the All-Ireland again this year and say, well, you look at their 6 knockout games across the 2 years, and Tyrone are the only team that put them to the pin on their collar, which could be the case. They won the All-Ireland comfortably last year, the big margins of victory in Croke Park, and if they go through their next, which is very possible, they could go through their next 2 games with a degree of comfort. But the thing for me was that those players, that the David Clifford, Shawnee O'Shea, those boys were always going to win All-Irelands in their peak years. This is their peak. This is this team's, so I don't think Kerry, are going to dominate the next 10 or 12 or 15 years of Gaelic football either.
Yeah.
They're going to win All-Irelands.
Those guys are 27, 28.
That's it. They're going to win All-Irelands, and then they'll rely on, which they'll always get. They'll always get players to come through and be competitive again. But I don't think it's a case where even if Kerry win 2 or 3, I just hope people don't panic over the rules or panic.
Split them into north and south.
These new rules, Kerry are going to win all the All-Irelands.
During the All-Ireland.
Kerry are going to win all the All-Irelands now because the rules have changed.
Yeah.
And the rules suit them, obviously. Yeah. But I don't think that's the only factor. I think this team, whatever the rules were, this team was going to win All-Irelands. And
Eamon Fitzmaurice sitting there stroking a white we'll round up this week, guys, with the Tailteann Cup finals on Saturday. Down against Wicklow, and I suppose it's 2 counties, Andy, at very different ends of, I suppose, the expectation scale in a way. Like Wicklow are coming out of Division 4, like whatever, if they were to win on Saturday, it would be amazing, brilliant story for them. But there's not the pressure on them, there's not that kind of sense of like if they lose, it's not a disaster, it's not the end of the world. Whereas for Down, probably it's a really difficult place to be for their season to finish on that note, given they've earned promotion, how desperate they are to be in the All-Ireland series, and it eluded them this year. It would take an awful lot of pressure off them going into 2027 if they were to win on Saturday. So it's you just wonder if they'll be inhibited by that, and if Wicklow will be, kind of feel a bit of freedom, going out there.
Wicklow will have the bounce, I suppose, yeah. But as you said, I mean, what a card for them, win it, and they're into the Sam Maguire series. Terrific semi-final win as well for them against Offaly. It was an absolutely cracking game, whereas Down laboured, yeah, but I sort of got the feeling they just want to do enough. I suppose Down supporters will hope there's a lot more in their team, but they certainly were not impressive after a good start. They were 6 up inside 5 minutes roughly. So it's like obviously Down's the high point of Down's season was beating Donegal. Nothing's going to match that. Obviously, the low point was obviously the Armagh game, and this is sort of somewhere in between, isn't it? Like, no matter what happens, it's been a bit of an anticlimax, unfortunately. But it's Silverware win it. They'll be the first county ever to do it twice. It's a dubious honour.
You keep talking that up. All Ireland number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just wonder motivation wise for Down, because obviously, like, I guess there's a novelty. Like they've been in it in the final 3 times. They've lost the first one, won at the second time. Like, so you just wonder, has the novelty worn off? And what worries me, I suppose, if you're a Down supporter, which I am, is the Wexford, the Division 3 final against Wexford, because they did need to win that, because at that stage the league, I can't even remember, it feels like a lifetime ago, but the league positioning did matter, didn't it? If you won your league final, then that put you in pole position in terms of the All-Ireland position. And I can't remember the exact breakdown of it, but it was consequential anyway. It
felt it,
and they felt whereas Wexford weren't. They were similar, like they had just sneaked into the Division 3 final, and they were kind of like, they came at it with that attitude, and probably deserved to win like in normal time. And you just fear that it's a similar sort of a. Well, it's the overbearing sort of pressure of like having to win it nearly, you know.
Aye, for their own, because we're so disappointed to miss out on playing in the All Ireland series this year.
Like we're talking about Louth, sorry to interrupt, but like we're talking about Louth here, like in 12 months ago down beat Louth and Kerry. I don't want to keep going back to that, but you know, you're sort of looking at Louth's trajectory now in an All Ireland semi-final, and with a really good chance of being in the All Ireland final.
But it's
Horst Devlin's first game, and Mickey Hart's first game was Louth.
Apologise for interrupting each other all the time. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Antrim beat
sorry to interrupt.
You know, so it is a bit of a topsy-turvy old.
Yeah, there's no like for Down would have been so disappointed to not be in the All Ireland series this year. And
well, can I interrupt you again? what would have happened had they been after that Armagh?
It just depends on the draw. Like you know, you look at the way the thing has fallen on the Louth Mayo side of the draw. Where like there's not one team outside of, you know, the top 13 or 14 that couldn't have ended up in the position that those two are in. You know, that could have been anybody. Absolutely. That could have been absolutely anybody in the All Ireland. And so
but does that count as interrupting you?
I think
but after the hiding they got from Armagh for Down to go on into the Sam Maguire series, you know, what would that have done to them? You can't tell me that they would now be in the All Ireland semi-final.
I know they're different, but like Louth were well beaten by Dublin in the Leinster semi-final. Kerry were well beaten by Donegal and Killarney. Like there's been, you know, there have been results that you think teams will struggle to recover from, and they recover from. Now, am I saying that I don't, you know, Down are more limited, and you know they're not a team that's going to win in All Ireland. But for them, it's more that, you know, they're trying to develop and they're trying to grow, and it's just the best way for them to develop is, and I think they'd be competitive with any team in the All Ireland series. They won't beat them all, but they'll give them games.
In the way Westmeath have been for
absolutely,
the last,
exactly, very similar. Like Westmeath have developed a lot because of, you know, those 2 years in the group stage where they got really tough group stage draws, and they didn't complain about it, and they you know, they did really well in those games, and that helped Westmeath football enormously. Like, and just to be there, Down to get another 2 games against teams that, you know, you were looking at Armagh in the top 3 in the country at that stage, and you know, Down probably just needed somebody outside of that top 4. You know, they just needed anybody else in their couple of games, and then they might have got a third game, you know, because you could beat one of them very easily. So and it takes that all away next year. It takes away. So if they win this weekend, it takes away the relegation thing. It takes away, you know, even if they go back down to Division 3, it means that they're still in the All Ireland next year. And I think for the whole project, I think for you know, because everything, and we have spoken in glowing terms of Conor Laverty and the job he's done, and I still think like he's done a phenomenal job there to make them competitive with, you know, they're pretty limited resources, particularly in attacking sense, and they've been really competitive. And I just think to bring energy into next year, I just think they need to win. They need to win, because if they don't, they're going away this weekend. They're going to break, go back into the clubs. They're looking at it this winter and thinking, just to stay in the All Ireland again is going to be a wrestling match, which means we have to be on it from the 26th of January, because we can't get relegated, which means we have to be flat out from air. We can't give ourselves a wee bit of time to ease into the year at all. And
it's all pressure from the
first 3 games.
Absolutely, and that just, and when you're in the position, then you're coming off the back of losing the Tailteann Cup final to Wicklow, like that's damaging.
Yeah, in its own right.
In its own right. So you have all of that in the mix. So I think Down, and there's the Croke Park factor. I don't think Croke Park sits Down. It suited them that one day against Laois that they scored the 7 goals, because Laois didn't see it coming and let them do it and let them run through. And no team will ever let Down run down the middle of them again. In Croke Park. In Croke Park. Exactly. So like, I expect Wicklow to be very compact, to make life difficult for Down, to make Down shoot out over them and kick wides. And the pressure factor, I expect it to be a difficult assignment for Down. I expect it to be to the wire for them. And I also expect that they will find a way out of it, because the one thing that they've shown in those couple in the Division 3 final, it's just when they have been a wee cut experience above the teams that they've played, they've just I always go back to the last 10 or 12 minutes of that Division 3 final in normal time, and how when it was really thick and they were in real trouble, they controlled those 12 minutes. They found a way to get their hands on the ball and to run those last 12 minutes. They should have won it in normal time, but I just think that just having played those games, that when it really comes to the thick of it, they'll find a way out.
You could add that semi-final as well, because Fermanagh really dominated them, and how Down got out of it right. It was remarkable. Was it Ram McAvoy got the winner? But even at that, Fermanagh had a chance for extra time or to push it, and you would not have fancied Down at all. But indeed, fair play to them that they did enough. So.
Yeah,
I'd say, as Cahair said, they could do enough again on Saturday evening.
Yeah, but I think it is going to be tight. It's definitely going to be tight. Andy, you just finish off. You were at the All Ireland minor final yesterday in Newbridge. Tyrone's latest crop, and looked to be coasting in the first half, and then the wheels came off.
Yeah, even second half they were coasting. I think they went 9 up. With a 9 up after 43 minutes, something like that, as you say. Positives. A lot of good young players coming through, or the next generation. Vincent Gormley scored 9 points. Is a big lad. Matthew, I think he's Matthew F. Daly from Eglish. There's another Matthew Daly from Eglish there as well. At full forward, looks one for the future. The midfield pair, I think both of them had a few fitness issues going into the game, so they sort of did just start flagging the last 20 minutes, and in fairness, Cork just came at them in waves. It's the old story, like a 1-2 pointer, and the next thing it was a massive crowd.
Once the goal went in as well, wasn't it?
Cork, big high ball in the back. It was all sorts of old issues coming in, like a high ball in the box, didn't deal with it well, etc. And it looked at one stage like they were going to be able to hang on, but Cork broke away and got another goal as well. This lad O'Hearn took it really well. So yeah,
impressed with him.
Yeah.
Right, guys, well, that'll do us for this week. Thank you very much to Cahair Kane and Andy Waters for joining me this week.
Neil, nobody else ever
Thank
says
you,
thank
Neil.
you, Neil. Thank you, Neil.
Oh, jeez, no. Thanks for
I've no birthday cake for you this week, but
it's not my birthday. So
oh, well.
that's good. I'm glad.
You don't give him a birthday cake every week. You're going to get it right some stage.
Exactly.
Just bring me
52 birthday cakes. Maybe some size. But his next birthday.
You're heading on to Wimbledon. You're heading on to Wimbledon now.
Yeah, Maria said to me this morning, his socks are ridiculous.
Oh my god!
So
it's the white shoes as well.
Have you any strawberries and cream for me there?
No, I have a birthday cake though. No, I don't.
You didn't bring me my
bring
birthday
your
a few weeks ago. You didn't bring me a cake. It's alright.
It's in there.
It's in there. It's already gone.
Didn't bring me a cake, lads. It's alright.
Well, thanks very much, lads. As always, thank you to our sponsor, Found Insurance NI, your local commercial insurance broker. We'll be back next week for a bit of a roundup of all that happened at the weekend, those 2 All-Ireland semi-finals and the Tailteann Cup. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and we will see you then.